Hello, friends. I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? I hope it's fantastic. Everything here is great, and I thought we are now the first quarter of the year has passed. It's time for a little update on the book. For those of you who don't know, at the beginning of January, I set a goal, not a resolution, a goal of publishing a book this year. That goal is still fully intended. I fully intend to publish a book this year. And with that intention, I started writing a book. I wrote about 10,000 words and then stopped for a while. I started to get to the point in the narrative where I wasn't comfortable with what I had already written, and then figuring out how to fix it. I took weeks off. I have since resumed writing, but very sporadically. I'm taking it very slowly. And what I've been doing is something a little different than anything I've tried in the past, and that is I write scenes as they come to me, not necessarily in chronological order or in logical order. I've always been a person that I see scenes in my head, like, oh, it'd be really cool if this happened. Or I need, how am I going to solve this narrative puzzle? Oh, something comes to me, but it's disconnected. So what I've been doing is writing those scenes, and I've written a number of them, and I actually really enjoy that process. And as I've been doing that in the background, my brain has been figuring out how to piece these into the overall narrative. So that's been happening. I've written a few thousand words worth of those scenes, all condensed. They're not fully fleshed out scenes. Most of them are handwritten. So I started that story with the idea of I could take 3 months to write a book. Again, the goal is to publish a book, not a novel. However long the book is how long the book is, right? I thought I could take 3 months to write it, and then that'd give me 3 months to edit it, and then find readers and polish it, and then the rest of the year to figure out how to publish it. Well, that's probably not going to happen. I am actively working on the book, but I feel like at this pace, it probably won't be done this year. I'm not pushing myself. I'm not making this some sort of, you've got to get this book done right now. I'm taking it as it comes, and I'm just working on it as it comes, and I'm giving myself that grace. However, the thing is, the goal that I set, remember, is to publish a book. This book that I'm writing doesn't need to be the book that I publish. At this point, at this pace, it definitely will not be the book I publish. Unless some miracle happens and I start having like 10,000 word days, which is possible. This will not be the book I publish. But I have good news. I have some interesting thoughts. I have other works I could publish. I have 30 years worth of poetry collections I could assemble some sort of poetry collection from. I don't know how many essays I've written. Tons of those could be refined and put into some sort of book. I have lots of material that I could combine. But what I've discovered is that maybe that's more work than needs to be. There is another option. And I think it occurred to me at some point, but then I saw, like, scrolling on Instagram or somewhere, I started seeing these posts about you could make X amount of dollars copying and pasting. And it occurred to me, that's very, very true. Not copying, pasting AI. I'm not interested in doing that. But there are books, thousands, hundreds of thousands. There are so many books in the public domain. It's fully possible to take a public domain book, repackage it, and publish it just like that. Design a cover, design the interior, publish it. Done. Goal achieved. I could do that in a couple of weeks, probably, if I put my mind to it. So I have this back, I have this back pocket cheat code that's telling me like I don't necessarily have to write my own work this year. I could publish somebody else's. I could pick out, I could publish a Sherlock Holmes novel. I could publish, any of the classics. They're public domain. You could literally just copy and paste. Now, the trick here is you've got to you only have domain over the original text. So you can't take somebody else's editorized edition or touched up edition, like that's stealing. But I could take the original text, I could editorialize it myself and publish it. Or I could just print it as is. I could just publish it as is. So that's a possibility. And that's probably, honestly, if I'm thinking about it truthfully, if it's going to be anything, that's probably the better option. I might release a poetry collection. I have so much though. Like the process of trying to put together a collection of even like 50 poems. Let's say I could, 50 poem would be like a 60-page book, maybe with some notes and stuff, whatever. Just a small pamphlet size of a book. I have so much material to dig through, and all of it would have to be edited. I would say a very small percentage of my poetry I've ever edited. It's all just been written, kind of streamed, and then that's it. That's how it exists, and I've never shared it. I've never published it. With very rare exceptions, I've read one for you. I've never really published my poetry. Every now and then, a little piece will get put online somewhere. But I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of poems from 15, 14, 13, maybe until recently. Like, I haven't written actively. I haven't really written poetry in many years, but I still write the occasional poetic prose or poetic piece that I could put into a collection. So if it's definitely not going to be this book I'm working on. This book I'm working on is going to get done, but it's not going to be this. This book is not going to be the project. I have been thinking about it, and I could revise the book that I wrote in 2020. I think I have a solid way of putting that book together. That's a possibility, but I'm not committing to that yet. I'd like to continue working on the book I'm currently working on and finish it. And if that means I write a draft and I get the draft done by June, and then I have all that time to edit and put together my first book, then I might do that. That might be an option. If none of those happen, and I find myself in November with nothing to publish, I'll just go the traditional. I'll just publish somebody else's stuff just to see what it's like to put a book out, to have it on the Amazon Marketplace and whatever other ebook marketplace I can find, just to see what happens. Has anybody out there done this? Have you? I know people do it. If you go look up any of the classics, you will find dozens and dozens and dozens of editions, because anybody can just print those. Just do whatever you want with it. There's got to be some other stuff that's under public domain that isn't published currently. Like that it hasn't been beaten to death like that. The other option that I've considered is asking for other people to submit content and then collating some sort of collection. I really like that idea, and I've been kind of playing with that idea as more of like a monthly magazine sort of thing. But it would be really fun to do a collection. If I could find people to submit stories, that'd be great. I don't know how to go about that process, and why would anybody trust me to do that? I don't know. But there you go. That's the first quarter update on the book project. It's going to happen. Something's going to get published by the end of the year. And the book I'm writing will get done. But I can't even say it'll get done this year. It'll just get done when it's done. Yeah. Let's see. This weekend we have concerts tonight. Excited about going to a concert. We're supposed to have softball games. That's not going to happen. So it looks like next week is going to be 5 days of softball. We've tried to reschedule everything with all this rain. It's been crazy. What do you got going on this weekend? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, being amazing friends and wonderful people. I really appreciate you. And I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know sounds smart is upbraid. It is a verb meaning to censure or find fault with. We had to upbraid our butler severely when we learned he was gossiping to other members of our staff. Upbraid. U-P-B-R-A-I-D. Never heard that word in my life. To censure or to find fault with. Not a very good word.